That's the bit that confuses me the most, is that it actually moves like that. That's the weird thing. But still, why? Welcome back, guys. We have 7 scary videos that will make us question everything. So let's sit back, let's get on with it.
Hello everyone, my name is Spooks, and today we'll take a look at 11 scary videos. But before we begin, make sure to subscribe to my channel for more scary content. Alright, with that said, let's begin.
The title does say 7. I just checked.
This first video we'll be looking at comes to us from a TikTok account known as Native Queen 97 and shows a piece of Ring doorbell footage captured in the middle of the night. In the clip, the homeowner steps outside, seemingly to check on something, either near the garbage cans or possibly his car. Everything appears normal at first, but something unsettling is happening right behind him. Watch this. Right here, if you pay close attention, a strange figure can be seen moving along the sidewalk. The shape appears pale and somewhat transparent, almost blending into the darkness as it moves. Then, just as suddenly as it appeared, it seems to vanish. To some viewers, the way the figure fades out makes it look less like a solid person and more like something not entirely there, almost like a ghost passing through the scene unnoticed. It's also possible that what we're seeing is simply another person, with the Ring camera's night processing making them appear washed out or partially transparent. Motion blur and...
See, with videos like this, I think it's hard to tell really whether it's something over the top of an old video. Like if anyone know what like an actual videotape is, a VHS, they're as old as that. They know that that's quite common. I don't know if is the same with DVDs. You'll have to let me know.
And compression can sometimes give the illusion that someone is disappearing when they're actually just moving out of frame. Either way, noticing something like that moving behind you only to seemingly vanish seconds later is enough to make anyone uneasy. It's the kind of footage that makes you wonder what might be happening just outside your view. A man named Jose Miguel Stark
he needs to calm down with these transitions
in May of 2022, showing himself walking through an old hospital somewhere in San Jose at around 6:30 in the morning. As he moves through the building, the camera slowly pans across hallways and rooms that look somewhat worn down, but not entirely abandoned. It's quiet though, almost too quiet. At one point, before anything visibly happens, faint and unusual voices can be heard echoing through the space, adding an extra layer of unease. And then this happens.
Shit, madre.
Right here,
nah,
the door
that's messed
suddenly
up.
swings
That's
shut
so
on
messed
its
up.
own. There's no one visible nearby, and no clear reason for it to move like that. At the same time, a faint white shape appears on the door's window, something that briefly resembles a ghostly figure. It's easy to see why some would interpret this as paranormal activity, an unseen presence making...
See, that one is really freaky because there is clearly no one else around. So what is going on there? No, that's strange.
Making noise and interacting with the environment. At the same time, the white figure is likely just a reflection on the glass, possibly from the surroundings or even the camera itself. As for the door, it could have been slightly open and pulled shut by air pressure or passing draft within the building. Even so, hearing unexplained voices followed by a door closing on its own in a quiet hospital is enough to make anyone uneasy. Because sometimes it's the build-up that makes the moment feel far more unsettling than it should.
You can actually see something move like straight across the screen as well. That's weird.
A TikTok account known as The Hall Family 2018 posted a video in June of 2023 showing a moment captured by their home security camera late one night. At first, everything looks completely normal. The camera is pointed toward the backyard, showing a quiet garden with nothing unusual happening. But that calm doesn't last for long.
That's not good. That's a bit too much, right? That's a bit too much.
Right here, a strange ghostly shape can be seen hovering above the garden. The figure appears light in color and almost mist-like as it lingers for a moment, before suddenly vanishing without a trace. To some, this looks like a spirit briefly revealing itself, something drifting through the yard before disappearing just as quickly as it arrived. It's also possible that the figure is something more ordinary, like mist or dust, but the timing of the event shown here is what makes this footage so mysterious. Either way, seeing something silently hover over your garden in the middle of the night is enough to make you start second guessing, because when something appears and then vanishes without a trace,
I'm confused.
It leaves behind more questions than answers.
That little ghost thing looked like Casper to me, like distorted. Literally like they took Casper and distorted it, so I don't know, let me know what you think in the comments, but I'm not saying this one's approved.
On August 14th, 2025, a YouTuber by the name of Space Rue uploaded a video showing himself outside in an undisclosed location somewhere in Russia. In the video, the man scans the
Russia's
sky,
hardcore as
clearly
well.
focused on something that isn't immediately visible to the viewer. For the first part of the clip, it's unclear what exactly he's trying to capture, until suddenly it reveals itself.
Вот это тут кусок пластмассы, блядь. Сувенирчик. Полная хуйня, не работает он, да? Говорите. Вот. Еще пока остались сувенирчики, кому надо. Пишите на почту. Ну, блядь. Вот. Он чувствует, нахуй. Он чувствует.
A strange, spherical object appears, but only when viewed through what seems to be a special lens or glass. As he tracks it,
The things can be seen on different wavelengths through like ultraviolet and stuff, but why? Like, why would it be there? Like, in all seriousness, why would it? What would be the point? So, I just don't understand. Strange.
the object suddenly flies off at high speed, almost as if it was never there to begin with. Then later in the video,
That's the bit that confuses me the most, is that it actually moves like that. That's the weird thing. But still, why? Why above the crane?
it happens again.
I did see it that time. See, the thing also is the US and Russia are like developing technologies far quicker than they're releasing them to the public, like as in telling us about them, obviously, because they're military applied. So like, for all we know, this could be a drone. Like, they've been fighting them in the Ukraine, so it would make sense that Russia try to develop their own.
The same sphere can be seen moving rapidly across the sky, far faster than anything you'd expect from a conventional object. The fact that it's only visible through the lens is what makes this especially strange. It gives the impression that whatever this isn't meant to be seen with the naked eye. What makes this even more interesting is that sightings of metallic-looking spheres or orb-shaped objects have become increasingly common in recent years. Reports from both civilians and even military personnel describe similar objects, often smooth, reflective spheres with no visible propulsion, appearing all over the world. In fact, orb-shaped UAP are now considered one of the most frequently reported types of sightings, with thousands of cases logged in just the past few years. Some official discussions have even acknowledged that these kinds of objects are being observed globally, yet still remain unexplained. That context makes footage like this feel a little harder to ignore. To some, this looks like a genuine UAP, something operating beyond normal visibility, only revealed through certain equipment. At the same time, it's possible that there's a more mundane explanation. Either way, watching something appear only through a specific lens and then move at that kind of speed across the sky is enough to leave you questioning what you just witnessed.
I think it was most likely a drone.
Reddit user Whole Negotiation 1843 posted a video to the True Cryptozoology subreddit not too long ago that's been causing quite a stir, and it's not hard to see why. The footage appears to have been filmed years ago on an old camcorder. In it, the person recording's walking through a forest in broad daylight, casually looking around, until they come across something deeply unsettling.
What? I can't see it. I'm not gonna lie, that looks like one of two things. To me, that's either a person with severe mental problems or a severe drug addiction. Yeah.
As the cameraman zooms in, a tall, extremely lanky figure can be seen in the distance. It slowly moves closer, its posture appearing unnatural, almost off in a way that's hard to describe. The longer it stays in frame, the more uncomfortable it becomes. It doesn't move like you'd expect, and there's something about its presence that feels wrong. For those familiar with the cryptid lore, this immediately brings to mind the Wendigo, a creature often described as tall, thin, and associated with forests and isolation. At the same time, some believe there's a more grounded explanation. The figure could simply be a person, possibly someone behaving erratically, whose appearance and movements seem far more disturbing due to the distance, camera quality, and setting. Either way, whether you're looking at something rooted in folklore, or just a human acting unpredictably in the middle of the woods, it's an encounter that would be terrifying in either case, because when something starts moving toward you out there, you don't really get the luxury of knowing what it is. I think it's safe to say most people would assume that retail stores are some of the safest places you can be when it comes to avoiding anything paranormal. However, this video posted to TikTok by user rtech18 seems to suggest otherwise. In the footage, we follow the uploader as he walks through the store, moving down different aisles while filming. He already seems a bit on edge, but at first it's not entirely clear why. That is, until this happens.
Se está moviendo esa porquería. No te muevas, no te muevas. No.
Did you catch it? Right here, if you look closely, what appears to be a creepy face can be seen peeking out from behind the toilet paper rolls, just barely visible, as if it's watching him from the shelf. And that's not all. A shopping cart nearby also appears to move on its own, slowly shifting without anyone touching it. The uploader then continues exploring the store, and things only get stranger.
So that could have been his friend.
Reírme por no llorar, ya no sé ni qué hacer. Tú como me sacaste la verga.
Out of nowhere, a ball suddenly begins rolling across the floor by itself, moving with no visible cause.
Suspicious that it starts off halfway off the screen, right?
Moments like this are often linked to poltergeist activity. Small, deliberate movements meant to grab attention. At the same time, there's the chance that this was staged. The face could have been someone hiding behind the shelves, while the cart and ball may have been moved intentionally from out of frame. But once you start noticing everything happening back to back, it becomes harder to brush it off as coincidence.
Comes in, scares me, gets his toy, goes. Cheers, bro.
The person who uploaded this video to YouTube claims that the original videographer was simply exploring an abandoned vigil, just wandering around out of curiosity without expecting to encounter anything unusual. They were dead wrong.
Bathroom again, is it? That's pretty cool, that is.
Almost immediately, within just a couple of seconds,
the door
a figure
moved.
can be seen standing in a doorway. It's faint, but clear enough to make out what looks like a human shape, just standing there, watching. The figure, which many describe as a ghostly girl, seems to linger in the background, as if quietly observing everything from a distance. To some, this looks like a classic apparition, a spirit tied to the location, revealing itself only briefly before fading back into the darkness. Of course, there's also the chance this was staged. The figure could simply be a person positioned in the doorway, using lighting and distance to appear more ghost-like on camera. Either way, spotting something standing silently in a doorway in a place like that, even for a second, is enough to completely change the atmosphere. And once
that's gotta be staged, right? It just has to be. It's too perfectly shaped.
You've seen it. Every shadow in the building starts to feel a little less empty. And that was 11 scary videos.
Perfect. Alright, that's it for this evening, guys. Much love, peace out. Catch you next time. Bye.